Today we are going to talk about emotions. I hope you all know what are emotions. I hope you all have emotions, by the way. Yes? I hope you all have emotions. Yes, no. Type in the chat box. I don't have emotions. How many of you feel that despite knowing what emotions are, or despite having them, it's very difficult to manage? It's very difficult to know what is the language of emotions. It's very difficult to align with your emotions. So, what basically are emotions? And why am I talking about it? So, allow me to introduce myself very shortly, very briefly. I am Meenakshi Verma, and I am on a mission to help 1 million people out there by providing them advanced psycho-emotional healthcare services that will allow them to come out of their challenges, help them change their psycho-emotional script, the script which is up here, and write new stories. Because nobody cares about your personal story until you win. And to win this story of your life, it is very important to do a few things along the journey. And one of them is to understand what are emotions, how is it that you can align with them, what is it that you need to do to make emotions your superpower. How many of you are ready to know that? That how do you actually turn these nasty little emotions into your superpower? Let's see how many people are actually ready to know that. Emotions as your superpower. Till today, we have heard that, I have so many emotions and how to deal with them. Let me get rid of them. And society along the journey has taught us to shove it under the carpet. If I don't have emotions, I am powerful. Yes, the society has taught us. Wear the masks. The same masks that you find me wearing, which is sometimes annoying, but I do wear them. Because what society doesn't teach us, or maybe it doesn't know, that these emotions that you find very nasty, very irritating, very awful, in reality can be your Shakti, your superpower. So today we have started this journey on 8th of October to understand more about emotions. So moving forward, I'll first throw a question at you. How many of you believe that your environment is powerful, even more than your willpower? Your environment dictates. Yes? All right. We have some hands raised up. It dictates your making, your environment. So, what do we do when our environment is awful, it's toxic, it's abusive? What is that first thought that comes to our mind? Let's stay in the environment. Let's go through the challenges of it. Or what do we do? What do we do? The very first thought that comes in our mind when it's about powerful, okay? I'm not good enough. All right, angry, run away, get out of there. Yeah, we all do that. Quit. Let's quit. Now, when we quit something, do you think quitting is always wrong? Or sometimes it's necessary to quit those environments? Or we should always be like, I'm not a quitter. So I'll stay in the game. I'll play my best in the game. I don't know how many of you know my story. So I'm an ex-PhD scholar from IIT Roorkee, and there certain things happened where I decided where things went really wrong from my perspective. By the society's perspective, it was normal. ये सारी चीजें होती हैं. And my supervisor, he plagiarized my work. So I was like, okay. एक महीना पहले, just 1 month before, I was made to write question answers for the exams that we all give. That plagiarism is wrong, but I guess in certain cases it is right. But why should it be right? Just because things have been like that for a very long period of time. Do you think it was right when women were not allowed to work? At a point of time, it was right, right? It was normal for women to not work, for women to be at home. आज बोल के देखो. If you say that today, do you think that would be normal? No. So many events happened along the way, and people changed their environment. So there are two ways to change your environment. The first way is to walk out of that space and build your own community or your tribe. That's one way. And the second way is to change your environment while you stay in it. Now, when we often talk about quit the environment, there is always this thought that I'm not a quitter, so why should I leave? But you should really know when to walk out of something, not because you're trying to avoid the challenges, but you're choosing your struggles. So when I decided that IIT Roorkee was not the place for me right now, and no, I'm not going to say yes to an abuse right at the starting of my career. I had this idea very clear in my mind that even though I'm saying no to this environment, that doesn't mean that the challenges, the struggles will not come in my way. One environment quit karke, if we come to the next environment, then also we have the challenges. It's not like the challenges are over. Don't be that ostrich. I knew I don't have to be that ostrich, which hides the face in the ground, feeling that all the problems are gone. No. So that quitting is basically choosing your environment. So that's the first step. However, whenever you choose your second environment, it's possible you're choosing the lesser of the two evils, and you still have to make changes out here. But today in the morning, I came across this very powerful realization. And it was this message. This is by Vaikur, and you can read it out. The very first part says, I broke up with him. And the next says, did you break up with that old self of yours that tolerated him all this while? And this is not just about relationships. It's about every area of our life. We have certain ideas. Suppose, for me, let's say it was a career challenge. So this career challenge, I left that environment, but whatever in me created that reality, whatever in me became the consequence of that reality, did I break up with that me? Did I quit that environment within me? And this is why I knew that though I am choosing to let go of this reality and I'm choosing this reality where I didn't know what is going to happen, I understood one thing. I have to change, still work on those aspects which caused that IIT Roorkee to be in my life. So it's very important to break up with that old self of yours. Your environment is not just out here. You would have noticed that, if you have been in the habit of changing jobs or changing some places or friends or relationships, what usually happens? Isko छोड़ते, let's leave this person, let's go with someone else. Maybe that person will be better. We are here in this environment, ye job mein, let's leave the job and go to the next job. things will be better. Yes, physically you changed your environment out there, but did you change your environment within? Because when you are changing your environment, it includes two things, which is what we miss most of the times. Now, I hope you agree with that. How many of you have actually felt that even though you're changing your environment and people keep saying that you have to change your environment and you take certain actions, but even then things are not working in the right way? And if yes, then think, did you change your environment within while you were focusing on changing the tribe, the community out there? Because if no, then you have to take actions yet. Now, how many of you like what you're seeing right now? There are seven boxes, uh, you know, uncannily, they're unorganized, just patched up together. What kind of a presentation is this? You know, like we put band-aids on wounds, just stuck here and there, all random. Do you like what you are seeing? Or should it have been more synchronous, more aligned? Or patches are okay? Just like the masks, just like we wear it, just like we put on our several wounds and we don't want to see it. Just like that ostrich that goes inside the ground. Let's start peeling them off again, one by one. We have so many challenges in our life. Most of us, even me, included me, loneliness, overthinking, we make silly mistakes. I used to do a lot of silly mistakes right when I was small in exams, usually. You know, we know the answers, but yet we make silly, stupid mistakes again and again, even at our jobs, even in our lives. Keeps happening. Procrastination, negative mindset, boredom. This is boring, that is boring. I'm bored. I want to do this. I want to do that. Boring, boring, boring. Addiction, stress of family politics, your job politics. Very common. Emotionally unavailable people around you, not knowing who to talk to, who you can share your emotions with. You might feel that most of the times when you are, when some others require you, you are there. But when you require them, they are completely unavailable. Struggles to keep emotional stability. Okay, I know I have to get out of this phase, this down phase, but how do I do that? And the frequency of it is so irritating. The number of times you go down that hill. The next is again a list of challenges. We have dilemmas, we don't achieve goals, failures of relationship, no many how many times we try it. Breaking of social friendships. No idea why this is happening. And then we consider ourselves different labels, introverts, extroverts, this, that, failing in interviews and exams over and over again, not knowing what is not working with me. Other peers that are, they are somewhat okay in their work. I also have the same skills. Maybe I have better skills than them. Then what is the reason that I'm failing at the exams or the interviews? I'm not able to crack promotions. Nahi ho rahe. So many other things. Stuck in life, no life purpose. Then comes your psychosomatic diseases as well. Head pain, back pain, knee pain, so many different types of pains. Emotional addictions. You stay sometimes in the habit of feeling one emotion over and over again. Anxiety. Maybe if you feel anxiety daily, maybe if you're someone who feels harassed daily, maybe if you're someone who feels unsafe daily, insecure, then you could be going through an emotional addiction. You would be having elements in your environments that would be reaffirming your emotions, and you would feel, this always happens to me. In psychology, we have a term which is known as repetitive compulsion, and that is what is emotional addiction. Then we have insecurity, we feel humiliated most of the times. Again, fear of unsafety, safety. We are not safe, emotionally weak, avoidance, denial, disturbed sleep cycle. The very first thing that goes wrong in our life when we have stress and things are wrong is that a sleep cycle gets completely disturbed. Either we sleep a lot or we don't sleep at all. You could be, feeling the yeses within you, that's fine. Because at this point, the aim is to make you realize what it is that you could be going through. Now, repeating same mistakes over and over again. As I said, silly mistakes, repeating mistakes. You know that you don't have to do this, but there is something within you that you cannot stop to do. And next comes being either oversensitive or completely desensitized to your own emotions. Because emotions are bad. They are very bad. But these, which you're seeing right now at the top, are actually just the consequences. All these are trauma responses. More than that, there are more, you can add more to the list, but these are some of the common trauma responses. Now, whenever I speak about trauma, people usually have this question that in my life, there has never been anything which was bad. There was nothing ever in my life where I have undergone a situation which was traumatic as per se. But what does trauma actually mean? Trauma just means that something, some idea, some thought, some feeling, some belief, some incidences, some events have stayed with you for a long period of time right now. And it has been there with you for so long that you could be feeling one of these things or a mixture of these few things. And now you're so much in the habit of it that you feel that it's okay. There's so many people out there who go through trauma, who go through depression, who have anxiety. Not all of them takes help. Not all of them have to go to sessions or have to talk to someone, need to have mentors, need to have that. Not all of them do. And yet they are surviving. But to be honest, you really don't know what they are doing at the back. If they are in a normal state, they could be definitely doing something. And if they are just wearing a mask, then don't make choices based on what you feel others are doing. Today, how many of you are actually here to learn? And how many of you are here for you? कितने लोग यहाँ पे लर्न करने के लिए आए हैं और कितने लोग यहाँ पे अपने लिए आए हैं? Are you here to learn something? Or are you here for yourself? These are two very different things. Strange, but true. If you're here to learn, you are here sitting consciously. You're here just for information. You're here just for curiosity. But if you have come here for yourself, then more than taking notes or maybe more than listening or more than and knowing about these things, you would be focusing on understanding whatever it is that is being displayed in front of you with how you actually feel. So, even till now, if you had the intention of learning, because we mentioned bring pen, paper, and your questions and one onion. So, if you have that habit of taking notes, I would suggest at this point of time, You can just look at the screen. Because what matters today most is you understanding your own self. This is like a mirror for you today. Today, all you have to do is understand yourself if you're attending this webinar. You don't have to take notes. Good. Somebody is happy. Now, as I said, all these are the top emotions, top things, the consequences of life. But the reason why we are not able to resolve these issues are the roots that we never go to. The roots are the main reason, or the core reasons where you need to really work on. And if we begin, there is always a root cause of things, always a root cause of things. But how to get to these root causes? How do you get to them? Because these root causes, they were the original cases or original incidences that happened to you at the very first point of time. Maybe you remember some of them, maybe you don't. But trust me, the feeling of it is true. You would definitely remember the feeling. There is no debate about it. Because what happened, these original problems, feelings, or how you were made to feel, maybe betrayed, hurt, whatever it was, these original challenges or problems, it was there in your environment. You experienced it, then you forgot about it. But then came another incident in your life. And this incident again gave you a sense of familiarity. Okay, this is something which I have experienced before. And that is where the repetition of patterns start. Where once you have already experienced something and you again experience it, the two, three times or fourth time, that experience becomes so known to you that it becomes familiar. It becomes a okay space. It becomes okay, this is how society is, or this is how the world is supposed to be. And then you go on normalizing it, making it your identity. Like people who have faced narcissistic parents in their lives, they usually have this statement with them that, when I was small, my parent or my mother or father, they used to say that I don't know anything, you're stupid, you're this, you're that. But when I would do something, they would treat me as a trophy. And if I won't do anything, when they would want me to do something, when they want me to perform, they would say that you're stupid. So now what happens to this child? Stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid. And now there is an identity formation that comes into place that I am stupid. I don't know anything, or I'm not good enough. When this identity formation happens, when that core emotion of feeling not good enough turns into a personality, core personality, that is where your mind programming begins. Now, your mind, your neurons are in tune with the feelings and the thoughts of your environment. And when that happens, you are addicted most of the times to the emotions that come at the end. You know that if I am supposed to feel stupid or not good enough, what are the emotions that need to be in place? I have to feel humiliated. I have to feel down, to feel shamed, to feel feared. I have to feel insecure. And then these emotional addictions are there with us. We feel them within. The minute we go out there, we see that not everyone is the same. These other people are different. And that's where we put on these masks. We just go behind these masks because now we know that we have certain emotional addictions, but we don't want to feel them. And so these masks become our defenses. That if I wear this, I'll be safe. Nobody will know what I'm feeling within. But these masks, they keep us hidden, the original, the authentic self of us hidden, which is why the other consequences of our life come up. So these are the roots, and the consequences of it remain with us. Now, if you have to cover these consequences on a permanent basis, you have to go deep down to understanding your challenges. And that is where awareness becomes important. Now, how many of you would have this question that I am already on a healing journey? How many of you feel that you all already are on a healing journey? Because we all would have, felt enough is enough. I want to change my life now. How many of you will say that you're already on the journey of healing? Good. Because trust me, we all are. We cannot remain in that space for a very long period of time. We want to come out of it. Now, when I ask you this question, how many of you feel that you're already on this journey of healing? How would you define this journey of healing? In your language, how would you inform that as? Like, how would you define it as? What is this journey exactly? And how does it look like? Peaceful, okay. How does this journey feel to you? Towards possibility, towards growth, liberating. That is how this journey is supposed to feel. Yeah? Releasing the emotions, hopeful. But how many of you still feel that though I'm on this journey, I really don't understand where I am exactly? Like, am I healed? Am I still in the process? Have I come out of the challenges? Am I towards the growth? Do I still have to work on me? Where is it that I have to work on me? And there's a confusion, a lot of confusion about what to do, when to do, how to do, and where to focus. Yes, yes. And that is where I have prepared this scale of growth. Because earlier it was difficult even for me to understand where I am exactly. What is it that will measure this scale of growth, this journey of my growth? And many people had this question that, Meenakshi, I don't have any trauma. I'm already healing, but then I'm not able to do this. And that's why I want to, enroll in this. So, do you think this will work out for me? And I knew within that, yes, this is definitely going to work for this person, even if they have not had those severe traumas in their life. But I never understood how to explain it to them. That's where, after years of putting head into this, I came up with this scale of growth, which begins here. There are a few people who have had certain real challenges in their life, like, excess abuse, third degree of abuse. They have had severe events in their life, one or two events which were very severe. And these people undergo a lot of blockages. They have a lot of blockages. And what they feel is the world around them is what is dictating their life. They are surrounded by their world, and their world is that limited space from which they cannot move on. So, for these people, it's to me, things are happening to me. And mostly they are with that victim mindset. Now, when I say victim mindset, I want you all to somewhere understand the word victim, not in the stereotypical manner, but in the manner where we feel that the world is happening to me. I don't know how to get out of this space. I'm stuck. irrespective of what it is implied to be out there in the societal terms, victim is just that word where we feel helpless and we don't know how do we really get out of this challenge. We don't have the right resources. So that is what we call or name as the victim or the trauma mindset. Many people out there could be in these category, and it could be severe. It can go beyond this, beyond -4. That is how we are understanding the scale of growth. It could be at 4.5 or it could be 3.5. It depends on different people. The next comes when you decide, no, you know what, enough is enough. I'm going to take some action. I'm going to take things in my control somehow, and I'm going to understand, recognize what are the options out there for me. I'm not going to say yes to this environment. I'm going to find out solutions. And that's when you move to this next phase of your life where you're awakening. You're going towards growth. You're trying to learn certain things. Your vision is expanding. You understand, okay, these are also my options. Like if I have to take my example, I would say when I was in IIT, and though I never went into that phase because I had been working on me, but that phase was there in my life. I'm not saying I was never there. At -3, I would have been there, but it was way earlier. I had worked on myself. So I was somewhere in the space of awakening. When I was in IIT, I would say I was in the space of awakening. I knew what I had to choose, I knew what my options were, but I was scared. So that's why I had taken PhD, like simple life, 9 to 5, we'll get there and things will be all right. But that was never the case. So that's where I decided no, if one thing is not working for me, because this reality is not what I really want in life, I want to choose a different reality where I make the decisions and I'm okay to take the challenges. Whatever challenges are going to come my way, I'm saying yes to them. So that's where I began to understood. I was in that awakening phase. I knew what my options were. So that is where we start to move towards the, neutral space. That is zero. The next is very important. We know from where to quit. We know who are these group of people who are toxic to us. We know what we have to do. We know we have to release our emotions. We know what is it that is required by us to do, what is the struggle that we have to choose, how spirituality should feel like. But the next work comes in, and it is a very heavy task that most of us do not pay attention to. And that is working on yourself. The same statement, I broke up with him, but did you break up with that old self of yours that tolerated the space or that created the reality where you felt stuck, where you felt abused, where you felt the trauma? And this is where recoding yourself begins. You start addressing, unpacking your emotions one by one to understand what is it that is not working for you. What is it that is the root cause of the problem? From where did it all begin? Why is it that you're carrying the emotional addictions, the particular set of emotional addictions? And this is where the world within you starts to change. You start to see the world through you. We have that famous statement by Mahatma Gandhi that be the change that you want to see in the world. So this is this phase through me. The world is through me. And the next phase comes in where once you let go of those old realities, there comes in the possibility of creation. You start to guide or influence your own environment. Whatever changes you're making within are the changes you start to create out there as well. A few days back, I received a very beautiful feedback from one of my mentees, and she's also someone who has studied with me in the college. How many of you feel it's very hard to have your friends as your customers, I would say, or mentees? than your mentees becoming your friends. We all know that. It's very difficult to bring in your relatives, your friends into a space where you can contribute to them. Yes, it's very difficult to convince them that I'm trying to do something and I can really make a difference in your life. But this girl, she just trusted me in the starting. She just took a leap of faith. Her recommendation is there on LinkedIn. It's all public, and this is why I'm sharing it. She has written everything there. And she mentions that initially I was, and she has gone through all the stages, all the stages. She was earlier there in the fourth stage, in the very to me stage. Then she became by me. She started to understand certain things about her realities. Then she started to be through me as well. She has gone through a lot of through me's, but yet we all are work in progress. Even I am work in progress in the last two parts. But gradually, what happens as you go along this journey, your through me and as me, they are somewhat one this time. It's alternative. You sometimes jump here, you sometimes jump there. And this is why we say that healing is a lifelong process. You jump from through me to as me a lot. Initially, it's a little while when it takes for you to jump from through me to as me. But as the time grows by and as you become more and more self aware, self conscious, your state of being in as me. I understand that the world is as me. So I am the creator of my world and I am creating, I'm manifesting, I'm that prime manifester. By the way, to be a creator is greater than be a manifester. You manifest certain things, but to be a creator, you're creating something entirely new, a new reality. In manifestation, realities are out there, and you're choosing which reality you want. So, this is the scale of growth. Now, if you would have any questions from this particular slide, at this point, I'll ask you to write down your questions. And at the end, we are going to have a question answer session. If you have any questions, you can ask there as to what is that point, what is it that you can repeat. So let's wait for that, okay? And if you want, you can answer these have these questions at the end. Now, moving forward, so this is where, your trauma trap mindset to your spiritual mindset, or to from your victim mindset to your victor mindset. This is the scale of growth. And now maybe you can understand at which place you fall in. Now, how many of you will define spirituality? Like, how does spirituality feel? We don't want the definition of spirituality. Let's try to focus on how does spirituality feels. The feelings are important. So how would you say that these feelings you can manifest these spiritual feelings? Who would you say is a spiritual person? Yeah. Peace, self-love, liberating, powerful. Yeah. So we can say they have a possibility thinking mindset, feeling connected with the positive energy of the universe. Beautiful. Contribution. Yes, Lucy, Gayatri. Absolutely. Inner peace, as you said, egoless, and there is a reciprocity, there's clarity of thoughts. Yes, Rupa. Then you have unconditional love, and keep bringing in the thoughts. Acceptance is there, absolutely, Shweta. Harmony, humility. Then you have responsibility, contribution. They are very good at taking ownerships. Very good at it. There is compassion and simplicity. Yes, most of these things, self-control, Rupa, absolutely. Better me and world, they always have this vision of, creating something better. Whatever is there, fine. But how does it get better than this? And what else is possible? They are all in this state. But when we try to apply it, and including me, I'm saying this, when we try to apply it sometimes in our life, do you feel at points that there is pseudo positivism in us? At some points, we feel that, it's actually not working. I'm feeling something else from within, and I'm just trying to say that something good will happen, something good will happen. And from inside, I'm breaking down. I'm trying to affirm that I am good, I'm powerful, I am whole, complete, and perfect. But there is something within me that tells me, that screams from inside, that everything is wrong. Why don't you open your eyes and see it? Yes. And this happens to all of us, including me, because I'm no Buddha. I don't have enlightenment. I'm still work in progress. We have this ego spirituality. We again wear this mask of spirituality. Sometimes we are really in that space. We feel blissful. We have that liberated feeling. As I said, when you go towards that, you always shift between the two stages. That is the world within me and as me, as I'm trying to create the world, be the creator of the world. So we have this ego spirituality that I'm a spiritual person. So you know what? Calm down. I'm a spiritual person. And this is how I'm supposed to feel. अंदर कितना भी परेशानी हो, कितना भी storm आ रहा हो, but we will say, no, 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 I'm a spiritual person, so यहाँ कुछ नहीं करना है. यहाँ पे I have to behave nicely. But from within, you feel a lot of pain. And if not, after 2, 3 days, you fall sick. You have fever, you have cold, some or the other thing is happening to you. Because this does happen to us and we don't often talk about it. A very important point. We are all told to embrace our stories, our personal stories. How many of you noticed that when I started off my story with the IIT Roorkee part, I hope somewhere you do understand that when a research scholar writes a thesis, which is a work of years, it is very difficult to let go of that thesis just because someone plagiarized your work and you complained against them. Do you think that is true? If you have worked on a project for a very long period of time, even if you're supposed at your job, you have worked on that project for a very long period of time, and you decide that I'm gonna stand up against my boss. And you know that if you stand up against your boss, the 5 years of work that you have done on the project, on your very favorite project, you have to let that go. You have to consider it that it never happened. Do you think it's painful? It's painful. It's very painful to let go of your project. But do you see at this point, when I'm sharing that story, do you see tears in my eyes? Or do you feel that I'm emotional right now? Many people have often asked me that suppose you get that supervisor right now in front of you. Right now, I'm doing quite well. I'm doing really well by career. I was told that I would not be allowed in that industry, which was absolutely false because not the whole country is like that. Not all the universities are like that. Not all professors are like that. I could have easily gone and done another PhD, and that's very common. But at this point, do you feel that I have any pain for that? Like, you can see my eyes teary. You can see. Do I have tears in my eyes? Or do you feel my voice somewhat up and down? No. The point is, whenever you tell your challenges, whenever you talk about your challenges, and this is something you would have felt in your life as well, you go to someone and you tell your story. You keep it within you for a very long period of time. And by the way, I was very emotional the day I was leaving PhD. I was very emotional. I also have a photo of mine taken at that time by my mother, how emotional I am at that point. But today I'm not, because today I've created something else in that place. However, whenever we tell our stories, it can be anything. You might feel that, it was just my PhD. And some people go through abuses, physical abuses, some go through harassments, some lose someone. There are people who would have lost some people in their lives. Yes, they are very serious spaces, and we might still have a lot of emotions associated with that. But if you feel yourself relieved after telling your story to someone over and over again, but every time that you do that temporary catharsis with someone while you're telling a story, and after a while you still get the tears again back, it means there could be something which still needs to be addressed. We are often taught that you have to connect emotionally with your audience. Yes, so you have to have your stories very emotional. But what is the message you're giving to the universe every single time that you're crying while telling your story? You're reliving that trauma over and over again, and you're associating the people around you with it as well. You're not just having that in your consciousness with your emotions, but you're spreading it out to the people in the audience. So 200 people or 500 people know your story with the painful emotions that they can see in your life at that minute. And if you're doing that, in the long run, you're affording something very costly. And you won't believe, I saw this happen in one of the events. 2, 3 days, the host was emotionally connecting with the audience. And what I'm telling right now, it's very important. It's very important. So listen to this very carefully. The person who was there in that event, the first 6 days, continuously at the end of the day, this host cried, right? They cried, like literally cried with tears. They would bring up an emotional topic and they cried. On the seventh day, on the seventh day, it so happened that the host came on the stage and mentioned a very tragic situation that really happened to them just a day before. And that day, they really cried. Like, really cried. It was not performance, it was not for anything, it was not connecting with the audience. They were literally crying. So sometimes, even though we have certain identities, we want to create certain auras around that. We take certain actions, but you have to be very careful what is the message that you're giving right then and there. And this is not just for one incident. It's not just about this event or that event or this webinar, that webinar. It's also about your life. I'm just giving you an observation from one of the webinars. Like, it really happened right in front. And even if we do it to create certain character out of it, let's be very careful what we are ultimately communicating to the universe. Because universe is your ultimate creator. It only matters what you communicate to the universe. What happens later with the people, it automatically comes. So allow yourself to heal. You don't have to create a movement out of, this sense of justice. You don't have to create a movement just out of this sense of revenge. Because many people asked me, now are you going to take revenge from your supervisor? No, I would be happy to even help him, assist him if he wants his emotional transformation to happen. I would be okay to do that. And that is somewhat moving towards spirituality. But I'll repeat this again. I'm not saying I'm completely Buddha. No, I still have my challenges to go through. But this particular challenge is done and dusted. This is clear. I'm clear at this point what I have to feel and what I have to not allow in my universe to feel. And I'm not trying very hard or having a lot of effort in keeping my emotions of अरे मैं PhD नहीं कर पाई, because what happened after that was truly phenomenal. If I would have done that PhD, which was on post-traumatic growth, it would have been lying in some of the other library of this world. Very honest. There are a few research papers of mine that are there in some of the online archives. They are just there. In very good papers, they are just there. Hardly any people would read it. Maybe 200, 300, 2,000 people would read it. But today, the concept which was there, today when I use it, literally use it in actions to help people out there, I don't even have to say. The feedbacks that I get from these people, they are of 4,000 words, 5,000 words, almost as equal to a research paper that someone writes. Here, we get a chance to change a person's life. And if I would have done PhD, I would have never done this, never touched these many souls. So I'm really happy I went through that. And I have no emotions, harsh emotions with respect to my supervisor. I have no problem with the plagiarism part as well. Because the point is that one thing taught me how to stand up for myself, how to take responsibility, and how to create a new reality. And that's powerful. What you get, what else is possible from what is happening to you right now. So allow yourself to understand, are you fueled by passion, real passion to do something? Or right now, are you fueled by revenge? Because trust me, both of them will be very different. The passion part would be much more positive, vibrating, and it would be higher in its amplitude and impact than what you would do by revenge. So allow yourself to understand from what part are you functioning? What is your fuel energy? Now, earlier when I asked this question, how do you feel this spiritual journey looks like? Many said it's peaceful, it's full of joy, it's liberating, it's so many things. But what you are actually talking about is the consequence of having traveled that journey. I'm sure there are many people who would have gone across thousands of reel on Instagram, on social media, which tells you how spiritual journey actually feels like. I'm sure. And if not, I would share a few of them with you. It begins at the bottom of this energy meter somewhere. It begins with anger. It turns into grief. It turns into courage. It turns into acceptance. And then finally, at the end of it, it starts to be joy, blissful, enlightenment, peaceful, liberating. Initially, it is always painful. There is a statement that I came across a few days back which said, your pain can be a doorway to joy only if you know how to choose or to afford that, walking through that door. If you can walk through that door of pain, you will know what joy is. But without doing that, without going back into your own self, before healing all those challenges in there, it's impossible to know what true joy is. And at the end of the sessions, I've observed this is not just with me, with all the mentees that I've felt. I make them cry a lot. And most of them have this complaint that wherever we come to into this session, we know that we are going to cry. For some reason, we are going to cry. And they all cry. They all cry throughout the sessions. But at the end, they smile. They ask me, okay, do I have to actually remember the old points? I've forgotten them. I don't want to go back to them. But the point is, you have to go through your hell to come to your heaven. You have to go through it. There is no escape, there is no shortcut. If you have already walked into a room, you would have to walk out the same way. Because if you go further inside the room, you're still staying in the room. If you just stare at the wall and you feel, okay, you know what, nothing happened. The boxes are still there in the room. You have to cross through all the boxes, and there is just one day out of it, through it. So let yourself go through it. Allow the pain to swallow you so that you can give birth to yourself. We all know by fact that it is very painful to give birth, even if you are a mother or not a mother. But I'm sure that we all know how painful it is to give birth. Yes, it's a painful process by nature. Yes or no? Obviously, yes. So it's painful to even give birth to yourself. And without that pain, you won't be able to come out of it. So, what exactly is the language of emotions? How do you understand the language of your emotions? These are a few points. The first is allow yourself to observe how your self talk is. How do you talk to yourself daily? What is the real talk? To be honest, today, what you can do is you can walk up to the mirror after this webinar. Maybe this is something you can write down as a task for the day, that after this webinar, I'm going to walk up to a mirror and I'm going to stare at the person who I see. Many of you would have not actually seen the person inside that mirror. And this could be more general than what we consider it to be. We don't look at ourselves. So after this webinar, go ahead and look into your eyes and just stare at her or him. Allow yourself to understand what this person genuinely feels. No pseudo positivism, no spirituality, nothing. Just let yourself try to connect to the actual conversation, communication this person is trying to have with you. It's important. That's where you'll understand what your emotions truly are. If you're irritated at this point, you are irritated. Recognize at this point that you're irritated. Just recognize it. If you're angry, recognize it. If you were angry yesterday, but today you are okay, you're normal, recognize, have you suppressed that anger, or have you really come out of that anger? Why did you feel angry yesterday? Allow yourself to discover your self talk. The next is your body tells you about your emotional energy. If you are someone who's down, if you're feeling down, you'll try to sit very uptight. Even though you'll do that, it will be an effort to sit uptight. If you're happy, it wouldn't really matter if you're down or if you're this. Trust me, your body will automatically feel energetic. So allow yourself to understand how your body is communicating to you about your emotional state, because body keeps scores. And when these emotions they increase beyond a point and you don't recognize them, your body starts to have different body pains because your body is very loyal to you. It will communicate certain elements, a certain pain points, certain diseases. Through diseases, it will tell you about your emotional disease. If you have fever, it is possible you could be feeling angry. And if I'm sure if few of you could have would have read You Can Heal Your Body by Louise Hay, you would know there's a list of emotions, and against that there is a list of what physical diseases you could be going through, and that is something what we call as psychosomatic diseases. So your body tells you exactly what you have been feeling over a long period of time. So if you don't recognize them, your body will recognize it for you. And this includes accidents, this includes certain severe diseases as well. There was a mentee of mine who, the very first day that she sat with me, she told me that I have these days, I've gone certain operations, and this is how my body is right now. So I said, okay, fine. How was your situation before this? So she went back and I asked her about her childhood and many things. So she said that, being a female, I was often told that I was often made to feel ashamed about me, the female gender type, and so many other things where they are discriminated, where they are told to be not good enough by because just because of their gender. So she had undergone a lot of challenges like that. And she said, if I try to recall what really happened to me, I was very emotional, depressed, and not okay. And then one day, I was driving and I just lost consciousness and I fell on the road. From that day, from that day onwards, my journey to be operated upon, started. From then, I've had 5 surgeries and I've spent over 12 lakhs over me. And it all began with her emotional state. So, this is how powerful your emotions can be. And if you don't listen to them, it turns out to be as challenges in different areas of your life. So, you can almost consider your emotions to be the base of your health, physical, emotional, everything, physical, mental, everything. Emotions are at the base of everything. So allow yourself to understand how your body has been talking to you lately. How has your environment been talking to you lately? What are the subtle messages in your environment which are telling you that something needs to be addressed right now, right here? Obviously, the state of your emotional and mental health, we somewhat covered that. And the next thing is, what is the frequency of you going down into your down phase? First of all, we all go through our low points, including me. I am no Buddha. And I'll repeat this again and again. Because when I say we go through it, all of us. However, we have often heard that, how many hours you stay in that state defines your state of mind. If your recovery is very fast, you'll come out of it easily. And your state will remain okay, you'll remain balanced. But what we miss out is what is the frequency of you going down? Because if the frequency is high, your environment is continuously telling you that something needs to be addressed at its core. And you're just addressing things on the surface level. If the consequences are not, if addressing the consequences are not working out, then your in that frequency is basically communicating to you that this is not that needs to be resolved. There is something else at the back which you have to work on or hit upon. So allow yourself to understand what is the frequency of you going down. The recovery phase could be quick. Okay. But if you're just putting the band-aid on everything, it is going to heal. But if the cut is also quick, your recovery phase is quick, but the cut is also very quick. The phase of cutting yourself down is also quick. Then you're constantly engaged in healing yourself. Maybe you have to shift your focus from this to something else and try to find out the solution. It's possible you're working at point B, but if you work on point A, you will get your permanent solution. So if finance is your challenge area, it's possible it's not finance. And I'll give an example of this as well from one of my case studies. So there was this couple who came to me to work on their intimacy issues. Now, when we talk about relationships, intimacy becomes very important. And again, not many people talk about it. It's a very hush hush taboo topic, but it is a very important part of our life. Sexual health, intimacy health, all of it is very important. So when they came into the sessions, they had certain challenges and they said that, this is my problem. A few people come for erectile dysfunction. Some people come from, they have problem in arousal and so many other aspects. Women, they don't undergo orgasm most of the times. So they have frustration there a lot. So there are many things to be talked about. So these couple, they came for that. But when we sat for the sessions, the point was not to work on that particular intimacy issue. The point began by working on their self concept. And this is what we don't understand some of the times. We are trying to go to the doctor for one particular type of solution, but it is possible the solution that you need, it is something else. And your consequence of it will get resolved automatically. People come out of their procrastination, anxiety, depression, but sometimes their problem is childhood trauma. So it's the childhood trauma that needs to be worked on. So allow yourself to see what is your self-talk, what is your body energy, how you have been feeling over a long period of time, and what is the frequency of you going down in your phase. Now, I'm sure you have your onions. I really hope you have your onions ready with you. Yes? Do you have your onions? All right. So I can see Santoshi, she has her onions ready. Yeah. Even if you are behind camera, I really hope you have your onions in your hands right now. And if you don't, please go ahead and get it. Go ahead and get it. And make sure you also bring a knife so that you can cut. Okay, they are already coming off. You cut this side and this side. And go ahead and do it. Just go ahead and do it. Everybody who is lying down, who's sleeping, all of you just get this onion, whether you're off camera or on camera. It would be nice if you were all ready for your 10 crore deal by being on your cameras. All the people who are in the cameras, you are actually ready for your 10 crore deal. And that's something I learned a few days back. It's very powerful. If you're not ready today with all the things in place to show up, trust me, you won't show up even when the universe brings those 10 crore deals for you. So be ready for your 10 crore deals by being on camera. A very powerful way to bring people on camera. All right. So I hope by this time you all have your onions, and I want you to start peeling this off. You know, start peeling it off. I know your hands are going to get dirty and this onion is not going to work after this. So start peeling it off and see what happens. Start peeling it off literally. It's very difficult to even get this layer off. You see, one layer, it's off. All these are in my hands and I keep it on the sides. But there is another layer to be peeled off. And let's peel it off until the end. And what's happening? There are 2, 3 things happening. Now we all talk about peeling the onions, but today I thought let's do this. Let's see what actually happens. So you keep peeling this off. You keep peeling this off. And at the end, you'll see something which usually you won't see if you're not doing this. So I really hope you're doing it at your end and you will remember this all your life. You keep peeling one layer off. One layer off. And the more you peel, the more you come closer to the core of it. And the more you become closer to the core of things, the more you will see that it is more soft. It's more fragile. I hope you're feeling that if you're really doing it. It's more fragile. It's more soft. It's more easy to hurt it. Yes, it's more easy to peel it off. More easy to peel the layers off. And at the end, you will have something like this, you know, something at its core. Many people would have peeled off the onions, not like this. At the end, you will have something very soft like this. You'll see that there is something at the, you know, here. It's very soft. And if you put this, maybe, I don't know the science, of it, but you will see that the more closer you come, it's more greenish at the core. It's more greenish. It feels more alive at the core. It's more soft. It has that greenish touch to it. And this, at the end, is what we call as our core emotions. These are our core emotions. You see this green, light greenish thing. This is our core emotion. Core, the one which was formed at the root cause. And it is nothing, but it could be just a subtle idea, a subtle statement, something which was always there in front of you, but you never realized because of the layers of different emotions. So the day you actually walk into the space of healing, you will come for different reasons, but you will find that your emotions, they peel off in layers. Anger, it's always at the outermost front. Then grief, then guilt, then something, then something. And at the end, there will remain one feeling which you would have never realized, but you always felt that you knew this. All along, you knew this. And that day, you become aware of that innocent child within you. We all have heard about inner child. Yes, we all have heard about our inner childs. But these inner childs are a consequence of our trauma responses. This information itself is like a different level information. We all have heard about inner child, but there is an innocent child. You can call this as that innocent child. And this innocent child at the end needs to heal, which is when nothing remains. And the person who has nothing in the end, listen to this very carefully. The person who has nothing in the end wins. And that is what we call as, I call it as onion healing. In the end, there should not remain any emotions, harmful emotions, or unresourceful emotions attached to one reality, one feeling, one incident, one statement. And when that nothing remains, like today, if somebody asks me about PhD, about supervisors, initially I was always in that hate phase. They all are like that. They should all, stop teaching. They all are stupid. They all need to learn these things from other people. They all just hold degrees, but they don't have any idea. But today, I would be in this space. If they ask me, I'll help them. And even that supervisor, including him, I would help him. And without any hatred or, that feeling that, okay, now today you come to me. No, because I'll understand that this person is that one person from that 1 million that I have promised, that I've chosen to help or to contribute to. So today, in that space, nothing remains. But when I say that it's possible, there could be some different incidences of my life that I've yet not been aware to. And this usually happens. We feel some of the things and then we feel I'm healed, I'm completely healed. But after a period of time, I realize that, oh my God, this is the reason why I was not able to unlock this potential of mine. I have to work on this now. So healing is a lifelong process. And one onion could have been healed in our life, but it's possible the other onion is still undiscovered. So now the point becomes to discover that onion first so that we can peel off the layers one by one until we peel it off completely. Because most of us stop when one onion is healed, or most of us stop at the very first layer of that onion, which is why we don't heal completely, which is why we are not able to manifest certain things in our lives. We stop. We feel it's done. Our cups are full now. And that's where we need to empty out our cups. I used to earlier think that I don't know in the next webinar, what is it that I'm going to speak? I've talked about almost everything. But every single time I decide to do a webinar, I get in a lot of concepts and ideas all together. Like they are fresh to me. And boom, there is another topic to be talked about. So, navigating your emotional challenges. So far, we have talked about knowing the language. We have talked about how is it that you become aware of it. But now becomes this navigating your emotional challenges. And the onion exercise that we did, it is mostly that. So the first step is you observe the pattern of your emotional challenges. If the patterns are there, don't be scared of them. Sit down, understand what these patterns are in your life. How do they look like? We say you should journal, but your journaling should not be just write down something, close it, and keep it so that after 5 years, after 10 years, after 20 years, you clean your house and then you discover, oh my God, this is my journal, and you pick it out and you read. No, your journal writing is supposed to be you write certain things, and after a month, you go back understanding what is it that I've written the most again and again. And that again and again is your pattern. The second is to discover the core of your emotional challenges. Okay, so this is my pattern, but these are the consequences. This is not the reality. And if even if it is, fine, we'll see it. But what if this is not the core? Then what is the core? So discover the core of your emotional challenges. That is the second step. The third is to address them by releasing these emotions in a safe environment with a safe person. Now, this could be your mentor, or this could be you, or this could be someone whom you really trust, whom you know will not pamper you in the moment. If you start crying, they will not start pampering you that, oh, you know what, this thing happened to you very bad. You should not have gone through this. Life is very unfair to you. No. If they are pampering you and they say at the end, chalo, let's go for a treat. Let's go for a movie. Let's shift your mind. They are harming you. These are the friends who are known to be the snakes. But that was a joke. On a lighter note, they also don't know what to do with you. In that moment, they don't understand how to help you out because they are not able to help themselves out. So allow yourself to be in a safe environment where you can express yourself. And it's good if you go to a professional. And I will emphasize that fact, not just because I am an emotional coach. No, it's because it has been said by many of the scholars before me as well. You can pick up a book known as Emotional Intelligence. You can flip through the pages, you can read through it, and there you'll find a line that if you're not able to address the challenges for a very long period of time, just go to a professional. There is no shame in doing that. So allow yourself to address them in a safe environment with a safe person. And why we say in a safe environment with a safe person? Because you don't want to be traumatized, first of all, the second time. And why with a safe person is because when you are in an emotional state, you go back into a trance. Your emotions flood you completely. In that moment, you really require someone to safely pull you back after you go through your pains. Because as humans, we avoid pains. So if you have someone, it really becomes easier to allow that pain to swallow you completely. I'm sure you would understand this by this example that it is obviously possible to give birth even when no one is there. But if some maids or the wives, what we call, I don't recall the name, but we have these vet nurses. When they are around us, when there are some professionals around us, it really becomes easy, right, to give birth. Because we know that when the child is born, somebody is there to take care of it. I won't be completely unconscious, or I won't have to put in a lot of effort. I can rest a little. Yes, we all agree that giving birth alone is possible, yes, but it is much more difficult and much more risky as well than if you have someone around you, right? Obviously, it's easy. So, in this space, allow yourself to have a safe environment and a safe someone with whom you can work on them. The next is observe the next phase of emotions. Just because one thing is out, one layer is out, one recognition is in place, does not mean that there is not something which is following up. Because as humans, again, by the way we are trained by the society, we have this situation where we have been suppressing our emotions for a very long period of time. And it is not just with one emotion, but several other emotions. So it's always ready to be prepared for something next which is coming. It's almost like you have those action movies. So one villain is down, and then there is a twist. There is another villain waiting to be fought off. So the next emotion is in the line. So before your body, your emotional state, your mental state tells you that another emotion is coming up, be open to it, be ready for it. And the last is you have to repeat the processes of, this process until all the layers are out. So do it over and over again. Next is your empowering your personal growth. Now, how do you empower yourself? We all again have heard about women empowerment, different types of empowerment where we try to motivate other people. But I'm sure you all would have felt that just motivation is not enough to get a person out of their mental state or some emotional challenge. Yeah. Do you think the person who is completely down, you can motivate them? And many people try to do that. I have had received two, three mentees of mine who came up to me and said, "See, I don't want a motivational speech from you. I don't want motivation from you. I've seen all the motivational speakers and they don't work. For me, they don't work. I don't want to do this or that. You just don't tell me. I want something specific. I want to heal. I just don't want to be motivated on the surface level because motivation without healing is again a surface level job done, where no matter what, the effect of it will temporarily evaporate and you will still be left with your challenges. This is why we feel most of the times we are also afraid of that if suppose I invest in this, if suppose I go to this person, my problems might go away while I'm working with them, but then after that, my problems will return. Now, there are two reasons for that. One is your onions are still left to be healed. That is why it's coming again and again, perhaps. So you keep going to them again and again. Or the second could be that your surface level emotions are being addressed, not the core of it. And these are the two reasons why we have challenges come back again and again in our life. We feel that we are not making any progress. But if you have touched a milestone once, you can do it twice. But if you have not reached the milestone at all and it was a sudden exhilaration, then you're in the wrong space. If you're going for healing, trust me, 90% of the time you'll cry. 90% of the time you'll be in a horrible state of emotions. After that, the 10% or the 20% is where you'll feel liberated. And if that is the percentage of your emotions while you're in a session with a person, you're with the right person. Healing is not joyful, it is always painful. It's a constant struggle. There are so many things that you discover It helps you become more confident. Now, these are some of the points where we talk about the empowering self growth. How does it look like? If you are someone who's constantly feeling that they are struggling but they are not moving, then you need to take action right now. If you feel that there are so many things to be discovered, you need to take action now. If you feel that you can still be more confident, you can still have a lot of skills which can be contributive to the other people, and you're not doing your best right now, you still have to heal. If you feel your potential is not yet unleashed, you still have to heal because you could still be trapping a lot of things within you. Let that go. And letting that go it entails discovery, recognition, and allowing yourself to accept. Somebody in the starting, I guess it was Shweta, who said that you have to accept your challenges. Spirituality is acceptance. That is the first, not actually the first step, it somewhere comes in the middle. First is recognition. You allow yourself to understand, taking off all the masks, that you do have a problem right now. And now it needs to be addressed. Now, अभी problem है, अभी mess है,